Hey, 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 hey. Hey, 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 hey. Woo! There are more and more people are coming. And I see that there are so many people who are accepted the invitation just literally right now. So probably I will send the link to the rest of the people just right now and one more time. So yeah. Hey, everyone, say just hi to everyone, guys. Hey, can you hear us? Can you see us? Can you hear us? Yes. Okay. If people say hi, that just means that they hear us. Hello, hello, hi. Just hey guys, where from? Just put like where are you right now? So I know that Jan is in Lisbon, in Portugal. I'm in Poland, and I see Albania, India, UK, Lebanon, Thailand, Manchester, Dubai, Denmark, Connecticut, Amsterdam, Ukraine, Barcelona, Canadian in Istanbul. Wow, pretty awesome. India. Wow, we have so many people from all over the world. Toronto. Wow.
Awesome, guys. Great seeing you all.
Yeah, and we're gonna start in just 1 minute. In just 1 minute, we're gonna start. So just give me 1 second. One more question. Can you see the screen that Jan is sharing? Because we started sharing the screen just like before we start. Yes, okay. Okay, yes. A few questions before we start. The first one, the recording will be available and we'll send it via email. You can find it on YouTube, so no worries about that. This one will not be gated. You don't need to put your email or anything like this to get the recording of the webinar. So that's the thing. When it comes to the materials and the deck, Jan, will you share the deck with the audience?
Yeah, sure. I can share the deck. No problem.
Yeah, okay. Jan will share the deck. So no worries. The only thing is that the most interesting part about this presentation is that this presentation is valuable on every single part. I mean, like with every next step, with a new slide, you will get even more and more value just because it's a multi-channel thing. And I already know the presentation. That's a small spoiler. Sorry for that. That's a teaser of the new presentation. But like every single slide has even more value than the previous one. And it's becoming more and more interesting. Am I right, Jan?
Sorry?
Am I right?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, a lot of the context will be spoken. So some slides only have a couple of words, but the value is in the spoken. So definitely get the recording and stay live. Yeah.
Okay, so and I am yes, and we're gonna start in just 20 seconds.
Yep,
let's do it. Okay, so let's start. Hey everyone, my name is Ilya Azovtsev and I'm a growth marketing manager at Expandi. You probably already know this brand and I'm part of that. And if you are here for the first time, if it's the first time you see me or see the webinar live, let me share with you a few rules. So the first thing is that if you have any questions, just please ask in the Q&A section. Yeah, that's it. That's the only rule, actually. And a little bit story, why we decided to make this type of webinars. I'm in this sphere, like outbound lead generation, LinkedIn outbound, and so on and so forth for quite a long time, for almost 7 years. And what I felt is that LinkedIn lead generation, it's not a rocket science. But at the same time, 80 or 90% of people don't know how to generate leads, sales qualified leads on a weekly basis on LinkedIn predictably. That's the thing. And we thought that what if we talk to some A-level players on the market, to people who are not just only know how to do that, but also teach other people how to do that or help other companies how to do that. And we just talked to them and they will share their experience and how they do this for themselves and for their clients. And we thought, and we just did this. So this is our third webinar in our series where we talk to some A-level players. And today we're going to talk to Jan. Jan, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to sharing our strategies.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So Jan, it's just a little bit the backstory about me and Jan. So Jan, it's actually not just another influencer. Jan is actually running the ColdAgency, the company that is helping with the email and LinkedIn lead generation for different B2B brands. And let me share with you the list of those brands, and you will be just wowed. So actually, Jan and his team at ColdAgency are helping established business owners with done-for-you lead generation. We are called email booking system that is actually helping set up the appointments for B2B brands. And he's also consulting founders and teams to do it in-house with their e-learning company, LeadSystems. The brands that Jan was working and is working with, it's Google, KPMG, Canon, Uber, AirBnB, and much more. In this sphere, for almost 5 years, 60 plus B2B sellers and sales teams improved their outreach. And today, Jan is here to share his process with all of us. No worries, the recording will be available for all of you. And I'm pretty sure that we can start. Hey, Jan, should we start?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay, let's start.
All right, I'll take it away. Thanks for the introduction, and thanks for having me. So today I'll share with you our multi-channel outreach strategy, meaning it will both cover our email strategy and LinkedIn, and specifically how we combine the two to get the best results. So I won't be talking about traditional multi-channel outreach approach. And when I say traditional, I mean sending an email and then adding someone on LinkedIn, then maybe sending a message again, maybe another email, maybe even add in a phone call. And there's nothing wrong with this strategy. I think it can definitely work well, especially if you have a really small market. However, today I'll be sharing a strategy that's a bit more hands-off. I mean, you're on an Expandi webinar, so you guys probably love automation. So this strategy will keep that in mind and tailor towards that. And this will work for us. I want to stress with these webinars and with the content I make as well online, you should take bits and pieces that you think can work well for you and combine with the things you're already doing. Not just copy everything, but take these strategies and make it your own. And that will always get you the best results. So my background, I mean, this is what Ilya just told you guys as well. So I'll keep it short, but yeah, ColdAgency I run. It's a B2B lead generation agency, over 25 clients. We do everything done for you. And LeadSystems, it's more so for the beginner business owner, maybe has a couple clients or a couple customers who wants to grow. We're doing lead gen since 2017 and help 60 plus B2B sellers. I think all niches we did. So, I mean, from corporate finance to even B2B gyms, just to indicate like it works for all different types of offers. And we got our clients meetings with some of these companies that are listed here, as well as tons of SMBs, but those obviously aren't the nicest one to put on the slide. So I want to start off with a bit of theory. So this is important, I think, to really understand why you're doing this strategy. If you just copy a template or if you just copy some strategy, it might work for a bit, but it will get saturated. You need to understand what you're actually doing. And like I said, we're not talking about the traditional multi-channel approach, but instead we're going to take the strong points of email and of LinkedIn separately, and then combine them in a strong multi-channel strategy. So sounds interesting. I'm going to explain everything here, so it's going to be all clear for you by the end of the webinar. So I want to start off with this. So if you think about prospecting, what is it, right? What is prospecting? What is the formula you can put in place to quantify prospecting? I mean, you want to get leads, and your leads are determined by the amount of prospects you reach out to and the efficiency of your outreach. So obviously, if you send more emails or send more LinkedIn connection requests and your efficiency stays the same, you will get more leads, as well as if you increase your efficiency, which you do by getting better scripts, understanding your persona better, maybe including like images, that kind of stuff. But you reach the same amount, you also increase leads. So it's important to keep this formula in mind, because we'll be using this to determine the best strategy between the two platforms. And again, the combination between the two. So the other variables and the other trends I see in the market that you want to keep in mind when formulating your strategies are the following. So the constraints of multi-channel outreach. So what is usually the weakest link in the chain is LinkedIn. And that's not because the platform is bad or anything, but it's because they limit you with the amount of connection requests you can send. Well, back in the day, I mean, I can attest to this, you could send a lot more, but nowadays you're limited to around 100 connection requests a week. I know Expandi just launched a nice new feature, the mobile connector, which you can up your numbers a bit more, but still you will not be able to send, let's say, 1,000 a week. That would be just too much for LinkedIn. So you want to keep this in mind. Then you want to keep in mind, what are the pros of LinkedIn? Well, there is really high efficiency. So once you connect with someone, it's not uncommon to see 20, 25% reply rates. There's a lot better opportunity to nurture people. So you can post content, you can contact them again. It's almost like an email list, right? Once you have that connection, they're kind of in your little bubble of influence. So you can nurture them. And you can build a lot more trust with your LinkedIn. Because when you're sending a cold email, you're just a random person. And when you're sending a connection request on LinkedIn, they can see where you went to school, what of their existing connections you know, all that kind of stuff, right? If you post content, even better. And they will just know more to trust you and that you're legit. And yeah, that's just the downside of cold email. You don't have that. And with LinkedIn, you do. And what's the pros from cold email? Is that you can send a high volume of prospects. And that it's easier to test different angles and optimize because you can set more prospects. And this way you can get quicker results typically with cold email. So keep all of this in mind. It's all going to come together shortly. Then another thing we're seeing, and I think a lot of people that are on this webinar will notice this too. Maybe a couple of years ago, you got away with not the best sequences and you could just like get away with doing the minimum. But now a lot of people are doing outreach on LinkedIn. A lot of people are sending emails, and there's great tools like Expandi, obviously. And for email, we use Instantly. And the downside of that is that more people use it, and the inbox gets more crowded. So if you're a decision maker at a larger company, you might get hit up like 30 times a day versus back in the day, maybe 1 time a day, right? So obviously it's going to get more competitive. So you need to make sure you stand out. It's definitely not impossible. People are still buying stuff every day. And they need stuff, they need to solve their problems, but you have to stand out because you're just not the only one reaching out to these people. And then also, this is something we've noticed a lot, is the self-serve research. So what does this mean? Well, basically people are doing a lot of research before buying, also in B2B. So a lot more, like 2 out of 3 B2B buyers are now self-serving more information before contacting vendors. This means they're not getting the information on sales call, they're getting the information prior to the sales call. 47% of B2B marketers say that they're seeing customers taking more control over the buying process in general. So basically what this means is people will not just book a call and you can tell them everything and just tell them why your product is amazing. They'll actually do a lot of research prior to the call. So you want to keep this in mind when constructing your outreach strategy to tie in with everything. And then the final thing I want you to keep in mind when we're going to construct this strategy is the larger market formula. So if you don't know about this, it's actually very, very useful to understand like what buyers are doing. So 3% of your entire market, according to this formula, 3% of your entire market is in the buying now stage. So these are people that just need to solve their problem now. They need to buy from you right now. 17% is in information gathering mode, meaning they're gathering their information. And back in the day, a sales call would definitely be part of this, a discovery call. But nowadays, more and more people are self-serving. So keep this in mind. And 20% is just problem aware. They're not looking for a solution yet. And then the 60%, they don't even know they have an issue. So you don't want to bother them. So how do you combine all of this in a good strategy? A lot of variables, but it's important to understand this to get the best strategy. So we have the constraint of the multi-channel. We have the pros of LinkedIn, the pros of cold email. We know that a lot more people are reaching out. So we want to stand out in the inboxes, be it LinkedIn, be it cold email, you need to stand out. We know people are self-serving with their research. And we know that only 3% of people are in the buying now stage. And 17% of people, they want more information, but they want to get it on their own, not necessarily on the sales call anymore. And then the traditional funnel is like this. So you're just doing outreach and you're asking for a call. TOF stands for top of funnel. So the initial stage when someone enters a marketing funnel. Middle of funnel, that doesn't really exist because you're just asking them to get on a call, right? Get on a call with me, get to the bottom of the funnel and buy my product. So this still works. I mean, right, like people are getting results with this as well, but it's more and more competitive. So we changed the strategy to this. So instead, we want to get to top of funnel. We just want to see who's in the market, who's interested in the solution we have to a problem they may have. In the middle of funnel, we really want to focus on building trust. And then with the bottom of funnel, we want to book the calls, obviously, because right, especially if you're selling services, you want to have a call with them to see if they're a fit and then sell them on the call. So this will be the new strategy, and we're going to implement this with the multi-channel approach. So let's get into it. So what we want to do with the top of funnel is we want to get interest and we want to focus on cold email. Cold email is the best channel here because we can do a lot more volume and we can see who's actually interested and in the market right now or who is in the information gathering stage. And then I want to put a note there that if you have like a top 100 clients, or you have a smaller market, I would also add people in the top of funnel to your LinkedIn campaigns. So obviously you want to use Expandi for that, to add them and connect with them, but focus on cold email because you will get more volume and this will tie in with the rest of the approach. So these are some of the results we get on email. If you have ever run a cold email campaign, you know these are good results. So 12,000 emails sent in around, what is that, like a month and a half, 70% open rate, 193 opportunities, 15% reply rates. That's all good. That's total emails sent, by the way, not unique contacts. Unique contacts is around 4,000 with this campaign. So yeah, I mean, these are good results, but these leads are not people that are ready to book a call. Instead, we contacted them with what we call a value first outreach. So instead of asking for a call, instead of just catering to the 3% that is ready to buy now, that's ready to hop on a call right now, instead we ask them, hey, can I share this valuable resource with you? And ask them to basically opt in to receiving that. So an example call to action for that is instead of, hey, are you open for a 15-minute chat next week, which I would definitely not use. That in my experience, that doesn't work anymore. Instead, we do something like I made an X, which is like a resource, like a PDF, showing Y, which is like a process or an outcome. And I would say, hey, mind if I send it over? So super low barrier and not asking for anything, just asking if we can give them something. So let me get that more of an example. Before I do that, these are some of the responses you can expect from that. So it's, yeah, sure, send them over. I have no issue with sending anything over. Do you have experience, right? People also ask questions about what you're going to send over. And even some people are ready to book a call right away. So they still want to gather the information on the call. And that's completely fine. So the strategy caters to both those buyers. And now you're not just focusing on that 3% that's buying now. Instead, with your value first approach, you're tailoring to the 3%, but also to the 17% that's in the information gathering mode. And this way your outreach ties in with all of those trends I just said, because with the channel sophistication, so how hard is it to get someone's attention? You're standing out, you're not asking something, you're giving something. You're tailoring to the self-serve research, right? People want to do more research themselves, not on a call. You're enabling that by sharing an asset. And you're tying into the 70%, like I said, 17, that is in the information gathering mode. So they want to get more information about this solution you have to their problem. So they're going to be interested in this as well. So we went from 3% to 20%, which obviously is a huge difference. It's going to make a huge difference in your outreach. So how do you do this?
Yeah.
Right? Like that's, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Before you come, I have just a small suggestion. Let's run the poll right now and ask people. So right now I'm launching the poll and ask people whether you are running email plus LinkedIn outreach. It's either no, only email, only LinkedIn, yes, both channels, and so on. So, like during the presentation, I know the presentation actually. Like, I don't want to spoiler, but Jan will be able to adapt the presentation based on what you are actually doing. And in just a few minutes, I will share the results. Are you okay with that? Just after the next slide, I'm sharing how many people voted for every single thing. You can vote as well, by the way, I guess. right?
I can vote as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I
Already
know
know
your
my-
answer.
You know my answer. Right? Yeah.
I know your answer. So okay. Okay, let's go just like in 1 or 2 slides. I will share the results with everyone. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sorry for interrupting.
No worries, no worries. Let me know as well if I'm going too quick, because it's a bit theoretical. It will get more practical in a bit.
Yeah, let's recap the things. Like, not everyone wants to and can buy your product or service right now. Try to focus on those who can and want, right?
Exactly. So let me share. It will get more clear in the next slide. So how do you structure your messaging? I would suggest structuring it like this. I will have some examples. This is the framework. Like I said earlier in my presentation, I don't believe too much in copying exactly, because if you're going to copy, you don't know what you're doing, right? If it works, it works. And if it stops working, you need to watch a lot of webinars again. So you want to understand what you're doing. So a structure is greeting, relevance. Why are you reaching out to this person? Is he a certain job title at company name? That's the most generic one. Or are they growing fast? Are they using a certain type of technology? Are they raising funds or have just raised funds? Right? Why are you reaching out right now? Something we call a pain question, asking them, hey, how are you treating this problem? Or typically company struggles with this. Are you experiencing the same? And then an offer. I'm asking, since we have solved this for our clients, or we have a great software or whatever, right? What you're offering, super clear, 1 sentence. And then call to action, you ask to share a resource. So what does that look like? Something like this. So this is an email we send. So, hey, first name, obviously. My partner, Jelmer, who is also on the call, showed me your site, and we figured you could probably benefit. And then we insert the outcome. So we blurred this a little bit, because this is our email that's really, really good performing, but you want to get your outcome in there. So you could probably benefit from a multi-channel outreach approach, right? That could be something that you fill in there. We already recorded a video on what that would look like. Mind if I send it over? And then we can send it over to the client, to the prospect once they opt in. Here's another example. Hey, first name, some relevance. I mean, we don't give away scripts from our clients because we think, right, we don't want people to copy them. But write some relevance. As I know, it's often difficult to come up with some inspiration, create a slide file. Would you be interested in that? Again, we're giving something first, and we're asking if they're having a problem. And here's another one. Hey, first name, another relevance. I'm asking, since you recently helped some case studies, turn their ads around, taking them from point A to point B. Would you be interested in a free audit? Again, we're giving away something that will typically result in something like an outcome. So again, we're giving before asking for any time. And this way we cater to a bigger portion of the market. So for you to ask, what should you send them? You should, I see the results coming up.
Yeah. As I promised, right now we do you remember, like 5 minutes ago, I asked everyone, do you run email and LinkedIn outreach campaigns? And the majority of you are actually running both and leveraging both, email plus LinkedIn. Isn't it amazing, Jan? It just feels like, wow.
Yeah, that's
There's so many
interesting.
professionals over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. That's good to see.
I mean, like, and then we just have almost the same split. No, not almost. This same exactly portion of people who only send emails, and those who only say LinkedIn, but it's still, even together, it's still less than those who are leveraging both channels. And that's quite interesting. I mean, like, I always thought that it's a bit opposite. I mean, like, there will be a lot of people who are actually using only one channel, and we still have a lot of people. Just for me, even 1%, it's still a lot, who are not leveraging any channel right now. But I'm pretty sure out of those 10% who are not using any channel, you will be starting doing that pretty soon, even after this webinar. Am I correct, Jan?
Yeah, I hope so. They have the most to gain. If you're not doing anything yet, you can 100% gains, whatever you do.
Yeah.
So we would definitely recommend starting.
Yeah, okay, awesome. And before we go on, just a quick question from Daria. Do you think it's better to send an empty request? So before we go too far and we are on this connection request stage, what do you usually do? Do you send empty or with some text?
Empty. So we've seen empty perform the best, given you have an optimized profile. So yeah, empty.
Yeah. Okay. And one more question before we actually go to the next stage. My question is, okay, when it comes to like, if we do the step back and take a look at those who are actually extremely interested in what you might be doing, those 3%, how, like, can you exactly identify them from the very beginning in order to, increase the chances dramatically to just reach out to them? Because I know that everyone knows about this extremely amazing approach, spray and pray, that doesn't show any results to anyone. Probably, like, can you share your experience about like how do you try to increase this 3% amount in your outreach? Because
yeah, of course. Yeah, so I mean, I think for the 3%, it will be hard to identify exactly. Obviously, you have some providers that are selling intent data. I don't know the exact mechanics behind those, but I mean, obviously, you can look at things that make it relevant. So, most important thing of outreach is always relevance. I'm not sure if you can know if someone's buying, but they can have the symptoms, or they can have the characteristics your typical buyer has. And the inverse of your buyer is that they have a problem. So, I mean, if they are hiring a lot of people and you have some hiring management software, it would make sense to reach out. If they're hiring a lot of salespeople, it might be good to reach out with your sales engagement platform. Those types of signals, obviously, you can get a gist of it. Same thing with just certain industries. I mean, we all know agencies, for example, are always looking for new clients. So yeah, with agencies, if they're not a boutique agency, then they probably are looking for new clients. So you obviously want to make your outreach as relevant as possible, always. But picking out the 3% will be hard. And yeah, just a question of asking, right? Do they have the problem? And I think that's the goal of outreach in general. So yeah, those, and I mean, on LinkedIn as well, you can see people that are attending a webinar, right? Like this one, liking posts, right? Don't scrape this webinar, guys, but like that.
Yeah, you can. You can reach out to everyone, so you will feel how it's working. But I totally agree with you. And like, just 1 minute, one more minute about this topic. Actually,
Sure.
like, I'm extremely happy that Jan is sharing all those things, because I do believe that you can actually increase this 3% amount by doing a better research on people. So I really love the examples about like whether people are joining the event, and if they are joining the event about lead generation, they're probably interested about lead generation. You can reach out to them and say, hey, I saw that you joined the webinar about lead generation. Probably you need some, and we are providing, and we are a pretty good match, and all that stuff. Or like another pretty good example is that if the company is hired and grew their specific department, for example, their sales department by 3x. So they had 5 people, now they have 15, probably just because they raised money or something like that. It just means several things. The first one, they have ambitious goals, and the second one, they have budget, so they can invest in some agencies or some products. And the third one, they have a mess around their processes, so for them it's really hard to navigate, to work around that, just because there are so many new people, not everyone is following the process, and so on and so forth. So you can come and say that, hey everyone, hey, we are the agency, we can help you, and so on and so forth, because we know that you hired a lot of people, we know your problems on this stage. So in this case, you can increase this 3% chance by 10, like it will be 10-15%. Of course, never 100%, never, of course, but still you can increase it. And really love that Jan started this presentation with this specific thing. You need to focus on people, like on people who can feel the value out of your message, and you might be relevant for them. So thanks, and sorry I took 2 minutes for that. Sorry. So Jan, I guess we need to continue.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. Obviously, focus on relevance, and then I mean, with this more lower barrier call to action, you can get even more people, right? Because they're maybe not the 3%, maybe they're in the 17%, and then an asset like this can help them get into your funnel. And once they are the 3%, they will already know of you. So what to send as an asset? I mean, make it relevant. Make sure it has proof of your expertise. Either if you're a software like good case studies. And if you're like a service provider, proof that you did great work, numbers, and a unique mechanism. If you are a service provider, it's really important. Like make it seem unique, right? Like if you are selling Facebook ads, everyone knows Facebook ads. Make sure it's something unique marketing, right? Like make sure it has something, add a spin to it, even if it's the same thing. Then you want to follow up. So you send over an asset that is relevant. So again, it's like a PDF, it's like a video, it's like a guide. It can be anything, a webinar recording, it could even be, right? It can be anything. Send it over first to get a higher percentage of people interested in seeing the asset. And then you follow up with them like, hey, this is the asset, right? It's like, you sure, send it over. I'm happy to see your asset. And having seen the asset, do you think it's worth having a chat? And then what we typically see, if you follow up at least 3 times and add extra value in your follow-ups as well, we have around a 30% meeting booked rate from the people that were interested in the initial outreach. And these meetings are amazing because they're not as cold anymore. So they're not just like service level meetings. I mean, we all have had those meetings for people wasting your time. No, these meetings are actually interested because they've already spent some time reviewing your assets, making sure they know what you do and that you're actually potentially a good fit, even so much that they want to have a call to explore further. So you get higher intent meetings from this. And yeah, I mean, 30% books right away. But this is where LinkedIn comes in. So obviously 70% of people that replied positively to receiving your assets are not yet sold. So you want to build trust with them and get them over the line. And when they are ready to buy, that you are the right person to do so and that you're the right partner. And of course, building trust, LinkedIn will always be better than email. So this is where we actually transfer over our strategy from LinkedIn to email. So we get up to 200 leads a month from the top of funnel doing this. So these are basically people opting in to receiving an asset. And then we add them on LinkedIn and we obviously automate that when we add them as a deal in our CRM. We add them on LinkedIn and we start building trust. So how do you build trust on LinkedIn? So I would recommend, if you're not posting content yet, like definitely do so. I know this is a webinar about outreach, but it's all integrated with each other. Make sure to post LinkedIn content at least 3 times a week. Make sure to look at every single post you make. This is add value. This is prove my competence, similar to the asset. Share your actual results, not just theory. So don't just quote some other marketer. Make sure it's actually your results. And then add a call to action to DM you, which I'll show you in a bit. And then make sure to engage with the commenters. So this is in a nutshell how to do your LinkedIn content. And 3 times a week should be doable. If you are servicing a good amount of customers, you'll have stories to tell. So this is an example. So cold email is that. Well, obviously, I don't believe that. That's my hook. And then I'm talking about my results. And I won't show the entire post. It's not no content webinar. But right at the end of the post, which you can see on the lower half of the slide, it's curious what we can do for your company. Just hit me up in the DMs by saying ColdAgency. For example, this post got me, I think, around 8 or 9 people just saying ColdAgency. And then I can continue the conversation with them on the DMs. And these could be the same people that I initially reached out to on email, but they're in my ecosystem now, and now they're ready to talk to me. So, I mean, the results you can get with LinkedIn content are great. These are my stats. So we get 65,000 impressions a week, 1.4 million in the last 90 days. So yeah, I mean, definitely a huge impact you can make with this. And all of these people that are in your funnel will now see you, plus more, right? Additionally, what you want to do after someone has shown interest in that asset, you have had a bit of a connection, right? This is what they always say, building connections with outreach. Then you want to add them to the middle of funnel. And in your middle of funnel, you want to have an automation that also sends them direct messages, right? You want to keep in touch. And you can automate this with an Expandi campaign, like a messenger campaign, or you can automate this with an email campaign or both. And you can share your marketing resources that you have. So any white papers again, any case studies, maybe if you upload a YouTube video once in a while, keep sharing it with them, keep building trust to make sure once they hit the 3%, you are already top of mind. And case studies are obviously great. And then eventually, right, once they are trusting you, once they trust you, once they're ready, once they're in the 3%, they already know you. and either they raise their hand from LinkedIn. So we see this a lot, people that entered our funnel a couple of months back, now they're ready. We qualify them, right? Is this something you want to do now? Right budget, right size, are you a good fit? And then we have a call with them. And these calls are, I mean, I wouldn't even call them cold anymore, right? This is cold outreach, but they are not cold. They are now warm. And the same thing to your email, just make sure to keep following up, yes or no, whether it be automated or if you have an SDR team, keep following up. Don't ignore questions, don't go into much detail, and focus on booking the call. And just general tip, I mean, don't share prices on email, only your range. And yeah, make sure you book as many calls from these people as possible, and re-engage them after they have seen your asset before. So why does the strategy work so well? Because now you're not just catering to the 3%, even with better targeting, the 3% is still, right? We just talked about that. You can increase your chances more, but now you're also catering to the 17% that's in the information gathering mode. And this will just help you a ton, because now you're not competing with all of the same people. They're just asking for a call right now, but you have a more broad like segment of the market that you can reach out to. You also cater to the new trend of self-serving buyers. So, I mean, if you're a software company, you already know this, right? So you have extensive materials, but if you're a service company, this is kind of new. And you can now cater to that by sharing resources before coming on a call. And then as a bonus, you build trust and leverage if your assets are great. So they come on the call, they're more warm. And then also your content itself is even going to talk to the people that are 20% problem aware. So this is a bonus. You will also talk to these people now. So you'll have a lot bigger piece of the pie that gets in contact with you. They might not be ready to buy or to have a call right away, but they are in your funnel, and that's what you want to do. You want to have them there. So once they're ready, you can get them. So you're competing, instead of competing for the 3%, you're now nurturing a total of 40% and yeah, getting better results from your outreach. So we've been using this strategy obviously ourselves, and in the past, 6 months, we did over 400 calls booked. To book all of our calls on Calendly. So it definitely works. And this was even with taking 1.5 months off because we had a client stop. So it works. And yeah, that's basically the strategy. So get interest, top of funnel, focus on email, build trust, middle of funnel with LinkedIn, and book calls in the end, bottom of funnel with booking calls, as you know, right? Get them on the calendar and have your normal sales process and close more deals. So do you want to automate both of this? You can send me a DM. I think Ilya will also share my links in the chat. And yeah, if you send me a DM with the word webinar, I know you came from here. And yeah, I mean, we help all types of people implement this, all types of companies. And yeah, that was the presentation and the overview of our strategy.
Woo! Awesome. But before, like, it's not the end. We just need to ask you some questions.
Yes,
because during the presentation we got some questions, and I want to ask them right now. So there are a few pretty interesting questions. So the first one is the question from Troy, and actually 2 questions here, and I'm answering them right now. So actually, the first question is, how would you deliver the cold email top of the funnel resource? What I mean is that email gateway, PDF directly in email, link to the web page with the resource. So what is this valuable, type of the resource in the cold email, and how do you, what is working for you usually? Yeah.
So we don't do any links or any attachments in the initial emails to optimize for deliverability. So make sure we hit the inbox. So I can go back a bit, I think, the script. So what we do instead is I think this is the best example. So we ask them if it's okay to send over. So we already recorded the video on how that would look like. Mind if I send it over? And then they respond to yes, sure, send it over, something like this. And then we reply and we send over the asset. If it's a video, I mean, it's a link. And if it's a PDF, I mean, you can share a Google Drive link, or you can upload it somewhere. I mean, we have some clients we run the strategy with. They have even made a custom landing page. So yeah, I mean, you can experiment with this. I wouldn't do anything in the initial email because that will impact your deliverability. And yeah, I mean, if you don't hit the inbox, then I mean, they won't open it, let alone reply, let alone the rest of the process. So yeah, and once they reply, typically there's no issues with responding to them and sending any attachments or that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. The next question is from Anonymous. So the question is, do you create fresh LinkedIn profiles or / emails for every single new client that you do outreach for, or do you reach out as yourself? So how do you, like, I know the answer, but still, like, it's better to just quickly answer that. And we have a lot of more questions, so let's just...
Yeah, I'll keep it short. So we use the LinkedIn profile of founder or the sales rep. I would recommend the founder because they have the most authority, and we make new emails. So all emails are separate domains, everything in a separate silo to protect the deliverability of the main domain. So
Ooh.
Fresh emails, separate or existing LinkedIn. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, awesome. Then the next question, it's more about the follow-up system. So actually you have two products, okay, two platforms, email and LinkedIn. The question, like, that's there are a few questions. So the question from Troy, it's, do you send everyone you emailed the LinkedIn connection request, or just those who replied to you and you send the LinkedIn connection request? So how does it usually work for you? And it's better if you even share a bit more about your whole scheme of how many follow-ups do you send, how many LinkedIn messages with follow-ups you send as well, what are the delays, something like this. So for people, they understand, okay, I have this amount of audience, I have this amount of potential leads, I will send them X amount of emails, like Y amount of LinkedIn messages, and so on and so forth. So it's just better to frame it. Okay.
Yeah, sure. So the system and the sequence starts with email, 4 emails we usually do in a sequence. I would do more if you're reaching out to large corporations, large meaning 500 plus. Then whenever someone replies positively, then we add them on LinkedIn. So we do this at a bit of a scale. So we already get like 200-300 LinkedIn connections requests this way a month. And yeah, the positive ones we add on LinkedIn. We initially follow up on email, but we use LinkedIn mainly to build trust. So I post all the content and I share, like a webinar like this, I would share on LinkedIn because it's existent on LinkedIn. And we also follow up on email. So both basically. And yeah, only when someone is positive. In terms of LinkedIn messaging, I mean, it's similar, 4-step sequence usually. And what I really like to do, which is a little hack, is having the message be split into different messages, but the delay be immediate. So it looks like you're typing it from your phone, as opposed to, yeah, like a more formal message, because you do want to adapt, obviously, your messaging to LinkedIn. So 4 sequence, positive response, goes to LinkedIn. Then on LinkedIn, we build trust with content. So it's not so much messaging per se, follow-ups on email, book them in, or later re-engage them with an Expandi 4-step campaign.
It's a really interesting thing, but I have one more question to clear things up. So, for example, you're just saying, hey, let's connect. Here's my calendar link. And you don't send calendar link, and the next follow-up that is sent immediately, so just like another message, is the calendar link, right? Or something like this, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or you can make a fake typo or that kind of stuff. I mean,
Oh
I saw lead generation, so people are very skeptical when you do that stuff. But if you're in a more traditional industry, those stuff will work like a charm.
Oh my God, everyone, please grab this hack. I really like it. I will try it as well. So the thing is that, just to wrap it up again, so you're sending like LinkedIn connection request, it's empty. Then you send the follow-up, and then on one of the steps of the follow-up, you send several follow-ups immediately, one by one. And it's the same as you're typing from your phone, just saying, hey, how you doing? Sorry. And the next message, sorry, I just forgot to add my link. And the next message, here's my link. I mean, that's just the example. I really like this hack.
Yeah.
Really like this hack. So actually, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a few more questions, Jan. Sorry,
Yeah, sure.
we just need 5 more minutes. So the question is from Marina, and the question is, what are your top 3 scenarios when and how you use multi-channel prospecting. So the question, like I just would like to probably frame it. You have different types of clients, right? They have different types of their ideal customer profiles, like ideal clients. For some of them, it might be enterprisey. For some of them, it might be, we just need to generate startup founders, different deal size and so on and so forth. So the question is, how do you usually change, whether you changed your approach or for your clients and based on the industries and so on and so forth, whether, for example, for some industries, you just only stick to LinkedIn, or for some industries, you'll just only stick to email.
Yep.
How does it work for you? Can you please share some differences in your work?
Yeah, of course. So this total strategy we just covered, that's best if you have a long-term approach and you want to get the maximum out of the market. And if you have a market with, I would say, at least 10,000 accounts you can reach. So, I mean, for some people that's large, for some people that's small. If you have a smaller market, especially below 5,000 unique accounts, so when I say accounts, I mean companies. If you have below 5,000, I think LinkedIn is best because you want to really nurture them. Typically, whenever a market is smaller, also deal sizes tend to be bigger. In my experience, it's just the way it is. So if the deal sizes are bigger, usually they aren't in the buying mode as often. So you really want to take LinkedIn and build trust and be known in your industry. If you have a really large market, I mean, an example is we have a client that has realtors as his market, and he has a referral type program for a tax break thing. So super wide. There's a lot of realtors in the world, or in the US this is based, but a lot of in the US as well. Then I would just focus on email because it's not really worth connecting with every single one of them on LinkedIn. So yeah, typically the higher the deal size, the smaller the market, the more I would lean towards LinkedIn, and the opposite is true for email.
Okay, awesome.
Well,
yeah, sorry.
Sure. If it's in between, then do both, combine them in this way.
Nice.
Yeah,
pretty obvious. Just a few more questions. Let's try to keep it short and quick. So for like the question by Richard, for deliverability, I heard you cannot include any possible suspicious links. So don't link to download page, etc. But how about including a link to your LinkedIn profile in the footer, possible distractions, but also possible trust builder and so on and so forth? I guess I know the answer, but Jan, how would you answer on this question? So people are afraid sending suspicious links, but they want to send the link to their LinkedIn. I'm not sure. Suspicious, actually.
Yeah. Good question. I've tested this A/B test, and I saw better results when including LinkedIn in some industries. So I would test it and see how much your open rates, reply rates drop by including the link. If you get more leads, it's worth it. So I would test it. It's a good testing run. Yeah.
Okay, one more question. So this is the question by Shah, and the question is about what about the we are talking usually about the calls right now and how to generate sales demos, sales calls out of LinkedIn and email. But the question is, have you ever tried to generate leads by sending the link to a free trial? Sign up to the product and so on and so forth. Not the actual, not let's have a conversation, but more like, please try it. Have you ever tried it, and how was your experience with that?
So going for a link click in initial cold email, I would not recommend, because there's no trust, and especially clicking links can be a risky thing, especially the bigger the organization, the more they get warned do not click random links. So I would not recommend that. Instead, I would use something similar to this. So we have a 5-day free trial with X amount of credits. Do you want to try it out? Something like this? Yes. Then you send the link. So you don't have to go for a call, but ask for the opt-in, basically, to send something over. I found that to be working best. But again, I would always test it. Maybe your market is different. You can always test it. But I would advise against it.
I would tell you, Shah, that I don't recommend you use cold outbound just to generate registrations. It's better to use outbound as a channel in order to generate sales calls with a bigger potential clients, right? If you focus on the teams or enterprise level, type of the buyer persona, definitely use it, but not to, get the registrations.
Yeah.
You need to talk to them before you actually show the product. You need to talk to them, you need to show the product, you need to understand their needs and their current solution and so on and so forth. So it's better to handle all this conversation and this, user experience with the product with your hands. Okay, so that's the thing. When it comes to signups, it's usually better to use some other channels, not the outbound, but you still can generate leads and prospects, but only through the calls. Don't send the links. And I wouldn't even say like, would you like to try it or something like this? It's just better for me to just talk to them. Yeah, if it just makes sense. And a few more questions. That's the question from Ross. Oh no, from Emil. Sorry. What do you suggest of domain buying after Squarespace bought the rights to Google domains? What type of tool do you use to buy domains? Whether it's different for every single client or you have your own, process that is set up.
We use Google domains. Still, I haven't seen anything change so far. When it changes, I mean, I'll change to another registrant. It will be a bit more setup, but yeah.
Okay, awesome. And the last question, thanks a lot for having us today here. So the last question is, so how do you you have several tools to send messages and so on and so forth. So what tool do you use to connect both of them? Is it Zapier or is it anything else? And how do you actually, you have several channels, you have several tools, you have different triggers. How do you connect everything within one flow and one process?
Yeah, we use Pipedrive as our CRM to have the single source of truth, and we connect them with make.com, which is like Zapier, but you can do a bit more. I think you can do most with Zapier as well, but I would recommend Make. Also, if you do a lot of volume, it's a bit cheaper.
Yeah, okay. Pipedrive for CRM, Make for Zapier alternative, let's say it like this. For the integrations, Expandi for LinkedIn outreach.
Yeah,
for email
of course.
outreach.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Expandi, of course, for of course for the LinkedIn outreach. We use Instantly to send emails. As for data vendors, I mean, we use Apollo, Ocean.io are good data vendors we have. We scrape LinkedIn ourselves, like the Sales Navigator. So yeah, I mean, Calendly to book calls, indeed, to track calls, to add them to the CRM, and then link everything. And am I missing anything? We use a tool called PitchLane to do custom AI videos, which is cool. Those are some names of the things we do. I think if I'm forgetting anyone, any tool, don't think so. I think that's all.
Yeah. Okay.
Verify.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Right now, I just shared with all of you the link to the Jan's LinkedIn profile. It's over here. And right now I'm sending also the link to my LinkedIn profile. So probably if you want to reach out to me as well, you can reach out. But if you need some help with your LinkedIn outreach and you want to find the company who will do this for you, you can talk to Jan directly. One more thing, after we'll have the recording, we'll send it tomorrow, the recording and other valuable links. Jan, will we share the deck with people?
Yeah, I can share the deck.
Yeah. Yes, we can get the deck. So everything will be tomorrow in the follow-up, so the recording and all the materials and our previous webinars as well. So yeah, that was awesome. Just in 10 minutes, you will get the email with the feedback. So please give us your feedback. Please write the review. Give from 0 to 5 your mark, your score. We really need your feedback. It's pretty important. And one more thing, thanks a lot, Jan. If you have any questions to Jan, just ask it. Ask them. We are LinkedIn. If you have any questions to myself, just ask me on LinkedIn as well. And thanks a lot, Jan, for
thanks for having me.
Sharing.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and thanks for everyone for listening in. And again, happy to connect on LinkedIn, like Ilya said, and hope it was valuable.
Hey, thanks a lot. Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.